Welcome to this week's edition of Tracking the Wolves with your voice of the Wolves. That's right, it's me, Ben Root. Time to look back at the week that was in Northern sports. Wolves football team sent its seniors out in style this past Saturday. They put on a fantastic show in their final home game of 2016. NSU pummeled Minnesota Crookston 66-14 to finish perfect at home for the first time in 30 years, while also setting a single game scoring record for NSU. Steven Erlinson had only 6 carries, but those 6 carries went a full 104 yards and, well, found the end zone twice. And Christian McIlvain also went 8 of 14 passing for 149 yards with touchdowns to Zach Barber and Zach Colbreth, and the senior QB ran it into the end zone twice himself. Jake Como off the bench connected with Colbreth for a touchdown as well, and Brady Thielges covered up a blocked punt for another score for NSU. Wolves defense took the ball away 5 times in this win, not counting that blocked punt. Northern volleyball team, meanwhile, didn't have nearly as much fun in their final home weekend. They dropped a pair of matches and, well, they're getting closer to falling out of the NSIC tourney. NSU was swept by SMSU on Friday, then lost in 4 sets against University of Sioux Falls in their final home match on Saturday. 3 players led the way with 8 kills apiece against the Mustangs: Holly Vancura, Kelly Schmidt, and Jenna Reef. And the Wolves were led by Reef on Saturday as the freshman piled up 15 kills in that loss to the Coup. 3 others had 10 kills in that match: Schmidt, Vancura, and senior Lauren McCafferty. Vancura tossed in a season-high 4 blocks and 14 digs as well for her 11th double-double, and Schmidt ended up with a career-high 7 blocks in that loss. Checking on your cross-country teams at NSU, the women finished in 15th place, and the men had 4 finishers as they came one shy of the number needed to actually register a team score at the NCAA Central Region Championships in Sioux Falls over the weekend. Tanner Peltier was the first to finish for the men. He hit the line in the top 70 spots, while Hannah Castigar turned in the top time for the women. She came in the 38th position. Paige Larson, meanwhile, followed, ending up in the top 60 as well. And finally, your Northern wrestlers started the season at the SDSU Open Sunday against a number of Division I opponents. Tyler Stenberg ended up turning in the top finish for your Wolves at that event. He came in 5th place at the 149-pound group, and Joe Gomez and Sean Havlovic were close behind in their weight classes. They finished in 6th place at 197 and 165 pounds, respectively. That's a look at last week's action for the Maroon and Gold. We'll talk with a couple of the swimmers from the Northern Swim Squad coming up in just a moment here on this edition of Tracking the Wolves.
Being part of a great team means you know your role and you work your role to the best of your ability. If you're consistently going to show up and be your best, you're going to be part of that team. You can see the success they have over time. It's not just 1 year flash in the pan. It's consistent success over time, which makes them great. And that's where the work ethic comes in. The ability to come into work, do the same thing repeatedly day after day after day, and putting your best foot forward is going to separate you from the rest.
Choose the experts. Choose Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine.
Welcome back to Tracking the Wolves. Talking some swimming this week on the show as the team gets ready for some more swimming here this week. And joining us, a senior and a junior on the program, we've got Shannon Fines from right here in South Dakota, senior out of Pierre, and Amy Wockenfuss coming down from Alaska, kind of, from Watertown. So you go from frozen water to not frozen water, but we'll talk to both of them here. Thanks for joining me. Well, looking at you both, as I mentioned, senior and a junior. So being here for a few years, the program's really built up. I know the roster is a lot bigger this year than even just last year. Where would you say is the biggest change since when you came in as a freshman?
I think the biggest change is probably from my sophomore year to junior year. We had, I think, 11 swimmers, and then we jumped to 18. So it was a pretty big jump. And then this year we're at 23, so it's a good jump again.
You find that there's more competition in the pool because you have to kind of try and keep these youngsters from taking your job, if you will?
Oh yeah, that's for sure. The freshmen are a bunch of really good kids. Well, not kids, I guess. They're only like 3 years younger than us, but they're really fast, and they definitely keep me on my toes.
Amy, of course, obviously you get more people in the pool and what have you too, but have you seen more growth with the competition, or how else has the program kind of changed during your years here?
Well, I guess I don't know what to say. I guess it was actually my sophomore year I joined the team, and from then till now there's been a big change, and then because of that I don't know.
Just kind of just a lot more competition, I guess, the main thing for you,
Yeah.
right? Well, looking at what's going on with you guys, I know we've talked to swimmers before, and you guys have to eat so many calories and all this stuff, and we got to hear, whenever it's the Olympic time, we get to see, Phelps and his 20,000 whatever calories he has. What's like a regular road trip for you guys as far as eating on the road, I guess, or getting ready for any match, really?
We usually, when we leave campus, if we leave around 1 usually, and we have to eat lunch before we leave, and then we look forward to, that's how we get through the meet, is we either get like noodles or Panera or something after the meet, and and then we eat a lot of snacks, but other than that, lots of carbs. Yeah.
So coach is never telling you to stop eating, I'm guessing.
No, she's never said that.
So feel free to eat as much as you want. Yeah, that's a good thing to have. You just have to work out a lot is all. Now, Shannon, you came in from Pierre. We hear about kind of the Aberdeen team, the Stingrays, if memory serves correctly. Sioux Falls condensing down to 1. What's the swim scene in Pierre like there? Is there a club team, or what do you have there?
Yep, there's a club team. They were about, 100 when I left, and I think they're a lot bigger than that now. So, yeah, they've grown a lot, and I think swimming's getting a lot more popular around South Dakota, just in general. So it'd be nice to see high school swimming get to South Dakota, but I don't know if that'll ever happen.
Yeah, kind of tough, and I think, maybe some of the bigger schools you could add it, because I think, like you said, it's got a lot of them out there. Now, you came in from Alaska, but made a stop in Watertown at Great Plains Lutheran, right?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
What's the swim scene in Watertown and up in Alaska?
Well, I never swam in high school, actually. I chose to play volleyball and basketball and do track. But back home, through 8th grade, I swam on a club team there, swimming's a really big deal. I think in Anchorage alone, there's maybe 3 or 4 club teams total, and they're pretty big. I think they're bigger than the ASC team here, and they do have high school swimming in Alaska. So
is the water just like regular temp, or do you guys have it warm to try to defrost up there?
Well, there's no outdoor pools. We only swim indoor. And it's about the same temperatures here.
All right, so nothing weird there. Okay, you're not swimming with seals or whales or anything out there. All right, that makes sense. What's it like just living in Alaska, though? I mean, in Anchorage here, I know we've checked before, like when it's a really cold day here in South Dakota, we look, oh, hey, it's warmer in Alaska than it is here. I mean, is that kind of the norm, or is it much of an adjustment, or?
No, it's usually colder here than back home. Our winters back home are just longer, and we get more snow than here, so it's usually colder here.
And I think the light thing is kind of tough to adjust to, right?
Yeah, well, I grew up with it, so I mean, I don't even really notice it, but yeah, it's definitely really dark in the winter, and then in the summer, it's light basically all day.
So you have to sleep in the light, I guess. Mm-hmm. Now, what's been the toughest part of training at Northern for you? Is there a certain thing that Coach Castigar has you do in the weight room or in the pool that's really difficult?
I don't really want to admit this because she might make us do this more. No, I'm just kidding. But the worst set is probably the Josh Davis set. It's 21 100s, and it's your intervals are adjusting. It goes 150, 140, 130, 120. So it goes 4. Yeah, it's pretty rough, but because usually I don't make the last interval. So it's like just a turnaround to the next.
Turn right.
Yep.
All right. How about for you, Amy?
I don't like anything with 200s because I have like no endurance. I'm a sprinter, so I'm really slow at anything over like 100.
Is there a set amount that you guys have set to swim every week, or like distance, or?
Not that I know of. Coach might have something that she just tries to stick to, but she hasn't told us anything.
Okay. What your senior and junior respectively, what's going on with schooling and your post-grad plans?
Well, my major is elementary education. I plan on getting a job somewhere around Aberdeen next year at the elementary level. So I don't know where I'll end up, but somewhere in South Dakota for sure.
Okay. And how about for you?
I'm a double major in environmental science and biology, and I'll graduate next year, and after I graduate, I plan on going back home and going to grad school. Hopefully I get in.
Back home Watertown or back home Alaska?
Alaska.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure. I wasn't sure what grad school would be in Watertown, by the way, too. But, next up for you guys, you have an event this week, so we'll talk about that and the upcoming schedule coming up in just a few. And thanks for joining us on the show. I'll be back with that upcoming schedule on this edition of Tracking the Wolves.
NCAA championships are something special.
Filled with memories we will carry with us for the rest of our lives.
We ask that you cheer hard for your institutions.
Acting responsibly and courteously towards those around you.
In the spirit of sportsmanship, enjoy the game, and let's provide our student athletes, coaches, officials, and fellow fans the respect they deserve.
Welcome back to Track the Wolves. Let's check the upcoming schedule for your Northern sports. On Tuesday, the Wolves swimmers are going to head to Sioux Falls to face Augustana in a duel. Coming up on Wednesday, we get that first taste of NSU basketball. The women will host Concordia Moorhead in a 7 o'clock game. That's an exhibition contest, and I'll have the call for you on ESPN 1420 and 107.1. Now, the swimmers are next up on Friday, hosting UMary and Minnesota Morris at the Aberdeen Y as well there. So they've got two meets actually this weekend. And Friday, the Northern volleyball team will start its final weekend of play in the regular season as they visit Augustana in Sioux Falls Friday. Then they'll head south to Wayne America on Saturday to finish the regular season. Northern men's hoops team is going to visit Oklahoma this weekend. They'll take on Southern Nazarene Friday night and Harding University on Saturday afternoon. Friday's contest will be broadcast at ESPN 1420 107.1, and Saturday's game will be over on 930 KSDN on the AM dial. Northern wrestlers, meanwhile, will tussle again Saturday as they take part in the Dakota Wesleyan Open. That'll be down in Mitchell, of course. And your Northern football team puts the big bow on the season with a pretty strong contest here. A couple of 6-4 teams. They'll visit the Dragons at Moorhead this Saturday, 1 o'clock kickoff again at ESPN 1420 and 107.1. That's going to do it for this episode of Track the Wolves. To keep up with the latest on all your Northern sports info, join me again next week right here. But till then, as always, go Wolves.
They will say